Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto. Alongside tonight, joining the Three Body Problem coverage live from St. Augustine, Florida.
Did you just dox me? It's Zachary Newton. Welcome.
Hold on.
Back.
You've been doxxed, have you not?
I don't know. I guess I've probably doxed myself in the past.
You want me to redo it?
No, I don't. I don't care. I was just gonna say, Mario, come on. You need to pick a new name. You need to pick a better name, is what I should say.
Copernicus.
Welcome back.
Did they make Jack change his name, or after he punched him in the face, he was like, all right, your name is your name?
I don't know. That's a great question.
They should have went back to
that. I feel like he picked a different name or something like that. Like,
it would have been great though if that would have been a great comedic thing. Like, okay, Sir Jack Rooney, that is your name. We stick with it. Man, so much happened in episode 2. Episode 2 is titled Red Coast, which is the name of the, I guess, science experiment that they were alluding to in episode 1. Just so much goes down. I mean, this show's really good. It's just like a spider web. And by the way, they got to be taken from from Apple's strategy of just adapting great books, because supposedly this Three Body Problem is like a best-selling sci-fi. Watch, we're gonna get hate for that comment of not knowing that, but it is a book series that's like world renowned and super popular, and you can see the depth in this show. Which by the way, I was not expecting a video game simulator type element to this show to be a thing.
All.
Feels very Squid Gamey in between all sorts of, I don't even know, like,
I don't know. I was thinking like Ready Player One or something, just with you're playing a game. I feel like they could be playing somebody else's life.
You think?
I don't know. Like, I get this weird feeling like the game might not be just a game. Like, I don't know. We're trying to like break out of the Matrix or something here.
There's a lot going down, considering that the first episode really had Auggie in focus with the countdown.
Yeah.
And what was going down there. Once the countdown was erased from her mind, her vision, I don't know what sphere of reality this countdown was in, but once it was removed from her, we didn't really see her after her little interrogation from Detective Clarence Shi. By the way, I called him Dashi. It's because it was spelled like D, like capital D, lowercase a. DA. DA is like a word for detective.
Attorney.
And no, not district attorney. He's not a district attorney. It's like a name for detective in the UK.
Oh, right.
DA.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell the DA stands for. I'm not looking it up right now, but I was calling him Dashi the whole first episode because in IMDb it just said Dashi as if that was his name, and I was like, what a strange name. I mean, they're really trusting the audience here with these names, but we get a little bit. By the way, I'm against like all the timey-wimey flashback stuff, but if you're gonna do flashbacks, do them like this.
Yeah.
You get this sort of background on what is her name? Ye Wenji.
Yeah, I wrote it down. Her name is Ye Wenji. That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of it.
We're gonna be butchering these Chinese names all season. Like this is not in my back pocket of being able to pronounce all these names. But nonetheless, we get like a really cool background on Ye Wenji of what's going on in Mongolia. She meets Evans, who's like this energy company tycoon, which feels like it's going to be kind of the trope of, Vera Ye is his daughter, right? That's the reason he was at the funeral. That's the way it feels like it's going to. And then they bond over the Silent Spring novel at the towards the middle of the episode, and it just kind of feels like eventually romance is going to bud from that, and maybe that's where Vera comes from, and he's going to come into play in some degree, because she literally has invited aliens to invade the Earth that she's going to help, which you got to assume has to do with her life experience, her overall human experience being raised in communist China.
Yeah, I think she wants to help change the world or take over the world. I don't know. Do something different other than what's been done for quite some time.
It'd be great if that unilateral decision wasn't coming from China. You know what I mean? Like, because her life has been miserable. Think about it. Her dad was clubbed to death by a student on stage who she just met in person years later, who did not repent of the act, had no remorse for it at all.
None.
And she's having her ideas stolen from her commanding officers, who are then reporting it to the other commanding officer, who's refusing to follow through on the research because the son represents their emperor, Mao Zedong, I believe. And that is kind of like everything in her existence is being kind of like squelched. Every passion she has is being stomped on. She's a prisoner of this base. So of course she wants to invite some damn invaders into the earth and just pretty much stop things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, very, very interesting. This one wasn't even on my radar. I've never heard of the book. You mentioned it to me like, I don't know, like a week ago. I was like, okay, it sounds kind of interesting, but it was a little difficult for me to not watch episode 3. I withheld myself mainly because it was like 2 a.m. at that point. But yeah, I'm really excited to keep moving through the rest of these episodes. And this show to me feels like don't get me wrong, I love Apple shows, but I feel like this one is just on a different caliber, man. Like I feel like this is like a really solid one that might stick with you for a while. Like I kind of feel like Foundation, like I liked the world building and everything that went to it, but
is nowhere near on this level.
No, this is so much better. Yeah.
I'd argue 2 episodes in.
I'm way more hooked than I was in Foundation 2 episodes in.
2 episodes in, there's only 2 shows that can be compared from Apple to this from a sci-fi world building perspective, and it's Silo and Severance.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 that can compete with it. But this is the double Ds, as they call them, DB David Benioff and DB Weiss. This is them like in their bag, as they would say, right? This is like prime GOT Game of Thrones type stuff when you're watching season 1 and 2 of Game of Thrones. Like, these are the guys behind it. This is the reason why they're so good. You see the crossover castings now that you finally understand because you watch Game of Thrones. You see Sir Samuel Tarly here.
Oh my god, I know. I can't get Tarly and Davos out of my head. Nor the Sparrow.
Yeah, but he's a really good actor. Like, I'm pretty quickly accepting him as Jack Rooney. And also the Onion Knight is here as Wade, right? Which is a great addition. There's some others. Oh, the priest.
Yeah, the High Sparrow.
The High Sparrow. He's in there too as Mike Evans. So you're closer to watching Game of Thrones, so you're more familiar with some of the more.
Well, I don't know what the Onion guy was that you're talking about. What?
That's the nickname for
Davos.
Davos. Yeah. Okay. They call him the Onion Knight.
I missed that. I missed that. I watched it more recently, but you were way more thorough when you watched it back in the day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Because I was like rewatching seasons before seasons
and listening to podcasts. I'm sure.
Listening to podcasts for sure. Where was I going with the previous thought? Oh yeah, just the caliber of the show. 2 episodes in, obviously, you know how these shows go. We got to see how does the substance continue as the mystery is revealed, right? I'm not a big fan of timey-wimey stuff, so I'm going to be really pissed if the communication coming back is from an alternate version of them, but they're already planting the seeds for the multi-planet or the multi-world theory because Will Downing's talking about it in his class. So my expectation is that there's just this is like a quantum multiverse type story being told here.
I don't know if I want this to be a multiverse thing. You know, after the last show we just covered, I'm good with that at the moment. Constellation, thank you.
Constellation's also not on the level.
Oh hell no, no, it's not. And Constellation's a good show. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good show, but it's not like this. But yeah, I feel like we're venturing more into just like the fact that look, the universe is massive and there's probably other life out there, and we've been able to, I don't know, break outside of our own little solar system and find something. Like, that's at least what it feels like to me. I'm not quite sure like how crazy it's going to be. Like, the whole stars flickering was nuts. Like, that was just like mind blowing to me. Like, what? Like, did you ever watch the movie Chicken Little? The cartoon Chicken Little, right?
A very long time ago.
That's what this, like, I'm conflating the two episodes. I'm conflating the two episodes a little bit because I watched them back to back last night. First watch through. But the whole star thing reminded me a lot of like Chicken Little. So in Chicken Little, something falls out of the sky, and at some point in the movie, you find out that the sky is not really the sky. The sky is like a simulation, and it's just like a bunch of like alien ships, right? Like, so the sky is falling because an alien ship thing like fell out of the sky, right? And so it was just like this fake projection of everything up in the air, and I was just like, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I was wondering if we were gonna get something where, you're not really looking at the stars, you're not really looking at space, you're kind of like being in a silo, thinking you're looking outside or something, right?
The one character who seems to know more than everybody else is Wade, the guy who's the commanding officer to Clarence, right? He's just like, there's something about the knowledge that he knows that this is their enemy that makes me think that he just knows way more than he has, that we have been led on to as the show has gone on. But I'll say what you were saying, it's been very difficult to not watch episode 3. This is like the problem with the Netflix release schedule.
I hate when they drop the whole season or drop it to binge it all.
But this is the thing, is that now we have to record several more episodes, and I'm having a hard time stopping watching. And I can't do this thing where I'm writing notes for 7 straight episodes and then we stop and individually record. No, we have to do literally one episode at a time, unless we're like doing maybe 2 or 3 together, and we can just do like a really high level approach. But I really want to binge this show, and I'm not allowed to binge it. So that's the reason before we recorded, I was like, we're gonna let's raise the cadence at which we record this one, because the show is really good. So let's write to Netflix and complain about the first world release problem of having to binge. Yeah, just a weekly, or just drop maybe 2.
It's a good strategy, man. Like, I mean, you get people talking about the show, and then you get people hooked on it, and then if they're glued to this television set or to the app on their phone or whatever for the next 8 weeks until you drop all the episodes, think about all the other shit you can get in front of their face. They can't cancel their subscription
because they need to stay for an additional 12 weeks, so they have to keep paying the membership. Right?
I think it's genius. So, like I think everybody should be doing that. Just if they want to make a lot of money, do that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some of the stuff that goes on in the episode, or at least go through some of the characters. Saul still has not really presented himself as a central figure. I'm assuming he's going to eventually step up as one of the main core characters driving this plot. But as of now, he's busy going on dates with 2 girls at a time,
dropping acid
in the marsh. Showing up to his ex-girlfriend's house the next morning, and getting rejected. That is all about Saul here. He's a hell-bent atheist who's just refusing to believe in anything but the science. He believes that there is something truly behind the stars. He thinks it's all BS. And he's sticking to that. And that is kind of a theme in the show with most of the scientists here. Except for the Chinese scientists, for the most part. The only guy so far who seems to have been ahead of the curve of everybody was Ye Zite, who gets pretty much clobbered to death in the opening sequence. He's the only one who talks about that there's something, like he pretty much is advocating for Western science, right? And so he's saying, he's teaching the Big Bang Theory, and he's leaving it open for God, which I don't know why they would have dropped that thread in there and then continued to drive home the fact that these scientists don't want to believe in anything but the data.
Yeah.
If they're not going to sort of touch on that subject more throughout the series.
I would imagine we do touch on it more. I'm not quite sure what the significance is of it just yet, but yeah, I mean, I've seen the pattern too, right? Like every scientist, like they don't believe in God, and that's, I mean, look, it's fine for them, but like they are making such a point out of it in this show, right? Like I'm expecting there to be something that comes out of it, like.
Except Vera. I mean, Vera has that convo with Saul right before she
dies. Or kills herself.
Yeah, but remember, she was playing the game.
Yeah.
Before she died.
Yeah.
Which is, how does the game come into play, right? Because here's the thing, like the common thread between the characters right now. There seems to be a countdown that kicks in for certain scientists who are working on research that is a threat to whatever organization is projecting this countdown and the ones who are behind the blinking stars. By the way, Zach, you got this for the audience who's watching, and it's not going to show up on the video. Zach has this camera effect that makes it look like he's in the movie The Big Short. Every time he moves it, it looks like, or an episode of The Office, it looks like the camera's handheld half the time. So if he goes and does like a face palm, the camera will zoom in. Like, Zach, do a face palm real quick.
You're not going to see it.
Zooms in on his face. It's hilarious. Anyways, so there's an organization behind some of the wacky stuff going on, like the sky blinking, which I was not expecting, and I was not expecting it to be reported on the news. I was thinking that was going to be an isolated experience between Auggie and Saul, and then they were going to look like crazy ones to everybody around them. But
I didn't even think Saul was going to see it. I thought it was just going to be Auggie.
Yes, I thought it was just going to be Auggie as well. But it turns out that the whole world saw it. The only, I guess the science didn't see it, right? Because the satellites, he mentions the Hubble, the Cheops, they didn't see it. No satellite picked it up, and so he thinks it's some sort of deep fake, which I don't know how the hell he can rationalize a giant deep fake projecting.
I told you, he
stars
watched Chicken Little.
Yeah, maybe it was that, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, no, I get it. Like, it's a crazy theory.
Yeah. Auggie has the countdown that's generally ticking towards 0 for her, and she ends up making the decision after a successful experiment with her micro nanofibers, which I'm not sure exactly what those are. It's like invisible. Can you explain that, Zach?
Yeah, okay. Let me just pull that out of my ass. I have no idea. I was one of the notes I took was like, I don't even understand the significance of his diamond being cut. Like, I don't
by an invisible force, though.
I mean, there's many things that you could say are invisible just because it's too small to see by the naked eye. I don't know if it's invisible. I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't know the significance of that. There's no way I can explain what nanofibers are or anything like that.
What if it's remember how like at the end of the radio signal that Ye Wenji gets at the end just says, "Do not answer. We will come and conquer you." Pretty much. What if the enemy is trying to stop science from progressing? And so the reason that they're not visible on a camera or whatever is because they have exceeded that level of scientific innovation. And so that invisible force cutting the diamond is possibly connected to the reason why that chick doesn't show up on the security footage. So they're trying to stop this world from progressing too far in a way that maybe it becomes a threat to them. Because the whole thing they keep on saying is that who are we a threat to?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do think that generally speaking, you are on the right track. Like, I have the same feeling as well, just about like, look, there's this other intelligent being or race or whatever, I don't know. And whatever these scientists are doing is a threat to them, right? Like, I completely agree with that because it's the scientists that keep, I guess getting killed. What is it, like forced suicide here? It seems like, at the very least.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what actually happens when you hit 0. Like does your brain just explode? Well, like,
you mean like what goes on in their mind?
Yeah. Like do you just like, I don't know, see everything? Like you were God or something for a moment and you just like, it's too much and you just go, I don't know. I'd love to know what happens when you hit 0. I just don't know that the laser thing's a direct connection to the invisible chick walking around.
It just seems like they can hijack people's minds, which is really creepy to think about.
Yeah.
We get a flashback to Inner Mongolia where Ye Wenji's at. We get a little bit more background of the work being done at this radio station, research facility, whatever you want to call it. They're actually sending communications out. We find out, remember last episode, you get the signal and the birds are going crazy and dying and flying into the satellite.
Yeah.
We find out that signal they're sending out is actually to try to communicate with aliens. But Ye Wenji comes to the conclusion that signal is not powerful enough, so therefore they need to amplify it with the sun in order to pretty much intensify it by, I don't know what the degree she said was, but it's by a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, like exponentially with like 20 times or something like that. I don't remember exactly how much it was. It makes me wonder, like, could you actually do that in real life? Like, could Could you reflect something off the sun and it be used like an antenna? I don't know.
There's lots of things that I'd love to like Google after I watch this particular episode, like that and that 72-second sequence that nobody could explain in 1977. Like, I wonder if that was an actual thing. Because sometimes these shows kind of
they sprinkle a little in.
Yeah, they sprinkle in some facts with all the fiction,
Yeah.
So maybe there's some mysteries out there that we haven't heard about because we're just not in tune with all that. But it turns out the Chinese were not the only ones who they allude back to that. Well, actually, no, they don't, because this was 1968 when that happens, and that signal doesn't happen until 1977. But anyways, Augie's approached by Clarence after her countdown disappears. Thankfully, now how they knew. She didn't like really shut down the company. She just told like 3 people, hey, shut this thing down. So, and she had about 2 minutes to do it. So
yeah,
how word spread that quickly means that they're always watching her, or maybe there was like a rat or a mole, whatever word you want to use for it, who's feeding info back to this organization. And they turned off the countdown timer because of it. But she gets questioned by Clarence, and that's when she finds out that multiple people have experienced this countdown. And the ones who have survived have done what she's done, which is to stop working. And the other ones have stopped working in a different type of way, the Vero way, where they pretty much kill themselves.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much what she learns from Clarence.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know what happens. And I'm assuming somebody's going to defy this countdown at some point on screen. Like that's too big of a thing for you to not actually reveal what's going to occur.
Feels like a season ender, right? It feels like a season ender.
It does kind of feel like a season ender, but like I'm almost wondering, like, are people gonna care? Like, for like, think about this. For all of our lives and all of the lives of everybody we've ever known about in the past, nobody has ever been outside and just saw the sky flicker. Like, no, like I was expecting like mass panic when that shit started happening.
Yeah, mass hysteria.
Nothing happened. No, it made the news, but it was like the chillest news event I've ever seen broadcast in real life. Don't get it.
I think that's probably how it would be in real life too. It would be the people who are really high up would know about it, and the plebs who are working every day, they would just go back to work because the bills are going to keep coming in, and the drama is going to keep coming in, and everyday matters are going to keep coming in, right? It's not like life stops just because the sky flickers.
Well, no,
right?
Yeah, so, but I mean,
it'd be a little bit more. Everybody be talking about it a little bit more. I agree.
Yeah, there was like nobody talking on the news. It was like just like this little shot of the sky, and it was just like, yeah, the universe flickered. I was like, okay. I guess that's all we're doing. That's all we're touching on here. What do you think the significance is of this video game, man? Like, this is crazy. Like this, dehydration, hydrating the masses sort of.
Well, yeah, before we get there, who I think is a prime suspect for this, like, defying the countdown?
Who?
I think it's Will Downing. I think the guy who has pancreatic stage 4 cancer. The one who Jack accuses of, the one that Jack always says always gives up, right? Like, he didn't ask out Jin because he felt like he was punching above his weight. He gave up on physics because he didn't think he was smart enough. Maybe this is like where he takes his stand against the system. Like, I could totally see him being the kind of unexpected hero who defies the countdown, right? And he's also seems to be intrigued by the multi-world theory, right? So maybe that's research that becomes a threat to this organization. They want him to stop, and he just defies the countdown completely. It feels like that could be something. Feels like it.
Yeah. No, I think I would agree with that.
Feels like a wager.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would bet against you. Like, maybe let's get into some specifics. Like, what do you think is going to happen here? Because I do think we're getting some setup for a stand.
Will gets a countdown, and he's the first person to not listen.
All right. So Will is the first person we know of to defy the countdown.
This is such a risky bet. Like, the odds of this exactly playing out like that are so low. Like, I feel like we need to come up with a system that when a bet is that risky so early with such little information, that there's like a ×2 multiplier or a ×3 multiplier.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gave you a ×2 multiplier last season.
You did, and I didn't even need that to whoop your butt.
Well, that's debatable because we did get an email from somebody.
I saw the email. There's not 4 universes, my friend.
I'm just saying, if you left it open to the audience, it might be, that might be questionable.
Mario's discounting the other emails. It was like, yeah, Zach won. There was 3 universes.
I don't recall those. All right, we get that conversation with Clarence. What do you think the explanation is with the footage? And her not being seen on footage, I believe it's probably the same thing because Clarence also meets the same woman at the cemetery. I believe she's wearing the same outfit too. Seems to be wearing the same outfit. I don't think she changes, which makes me feel like she's doing all this from one location and just like never leaving. Maybe it's kind of like this video game situation. Maybe this is her video game.
Maybe she's just like Agent Smith or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Well, she might have been making that stuff up about her dad. At least we know his tomb wasn't there.
Yeah.
Or his grave. I don't know. Is tomb the right word for that?
It's a grave, headstone.
I feel like a tomb you can walk into.
Yeah. Right? It feels like I should be able to walk into a tomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The video game. You asked me a question about the video game. I have no idea how this ties up. Level 1 seems specific. There definitely seems to be video game mechanics about it, even so much so that the guy tells Jin, like, hey, put your hand on the ground, time advances faster. It's like a tutorial instruction.
Oh,
yeah. You also have, seems to be invite only. So this is like beta access to this game because Jack keeps getting killed every time he puts the helmet on, and he gets his own helmet, which makes me believe that you're not allowed to wear someone else's helmet and play their game, potentially, which maybe means every game is different. Maybe these are all unique games, or maybe they're all trying to solve the same problem, which is kind of like Ready Player One, where Holiday has like a riddle, like a hidden riddle for everybody to solve. But also begs the question of why, when Jin takes Vera's, is she allowed to start her game? Like she wasn't technically invited, so does that mean that they've always planned for her to be the next one to play?
What if because she was dead, the headset just didn't like care anymore, right? Like because it was tied to one person, that person now no longer exists, so could have just been picked up anyway. It's a great question, because you would think it would, like, my phone unlocks with my face. If I die, it's still going to unlock with my face, but
is it?
Well, it's not going to unlock with somebody else's face, is my point at the very least. But there isn't like an alien race running my phone. So I don't know. It's a hard one to really draw a comparison on.
You asked me, what do you think the game is connected to? How does it connect to this organization and what's going on with this countdown?
That's where I think things are gonna get really interesting. I feel like the headset may not actually be all right. So I guess I have to kind of set a little bit of a foundation on what some of the assumptions are that we're making right now. At least I feel like we're making. We're making the assumption that there is some sort of alien race or an other
no, we're not
intelligent race.
We're assuming at least yes.
I'm not talking about the green man walking around or anything like that. There's some intelligent race out there that has like their grip on everybody on Earth, and science is a big threat to them, and they're trying to stop everybody with that's thinking through things with science. I think that is like the I guess the foundation that I think we're trying to lay here, and we're making assumptions off of. That said, I feel like the game is more of like a device that was created by other humans that actually kind of know what's going on, and they're using that as a way to I don't know, like I'm going to use the Matrix again, but like get people to break out of the Matrix, like wake up and realize what's actually going on. There's some interesting things so far, to me at least. Like I feel like I've only seen scientists playing the game. That when you get to level 2, well, the level 2 requires you to use science to solve the problem, right? So maybe the fact that you're doing something in this like other random state, I don't know, maybe that's their sneaky way of getting around doing real sciencey things in real life. That's where I'm at right now. Could be totally wrong.
Yeah. I was thinking though, you do see the shot of the guy who's sitting in this kind of, he has a million monitors around him and he's monitoring the progress in the game. You do see that one shot. Did you catch that?
I did catch that. Okay. I was going to recommend a bet before you reminded me of that scene. The bet that I was going to make was that the games were created by like humans, not by whatever this other being is. And I'll be very vague with whatever that other being is. The enemy.
What being are you referring to?
The enemy.
I think it's all humans. I don't think that this is alien specific. I think that it's definitely, I couldn't bet against you on that because I think it's also created by humans. I'm leaning towards the whole multi-world thing. If you want to take a bet on that, we can do it. But
no, I think that would be I think there's bet. Other intelligent life. I don't think that they're little green men. That's all.
Why did the radio message come back to Ye Wenji at the end and it came back in Mandarin? I believe it was Mandarin. I wouldn't know the difference.
I mean,
that message came back in her language. Well, how would an alien be able to first and foremost understand it, right? Dude, in a different language, and then send it back in the same language.
I mean, I have AI on my phone, and I can send a message in English, and it pop up on somebody else's phone in Spanish.
You're assuming the aliens are more advanced than the 1968 version of Ye Wenji when she sends out the signal.
Yeah, whatever this enemy
and that they speak
is,
the same languages.
I'm not going to go so far to say that they speak the same languages. I mean, how many like alien movies and shows have you seen where the aliens just know what you're saying? Like they can communicate with you. They have this really advanced way of communication and whatever. We can't understand, but they can understand us. I feel like there's lots of movies and shows like that. I do, however, completely agree that whatever I'm using air quotes, the enemy is here. I do think that they are way more technologically advanced than all of us Earthlings are.
I think they're just humans from a different world of whatever's going on here, right? So, anyways, they are really pushing the whole enemy thing, enemy. And by the way, that was pretty creepy. When you imagine you're in her shoes, you send out that response and it comes back and says, do not respond. Do not respond. And it's kind of like a comedic type response of, you're lucky I'm a pacifist.
Yeah.
If anyone else would have seen this, it would have been game over for your world. In other words, that world already knew about the existence of the world that's sending a signal out to it. That's what I gathered from that mission, right? Or not mission, message. Mm-hmm. So that guy who saw it is part of a faction who does not want war with the other worlds for whatever reason. So he's warning her about it. So they've known about it and they seem to be monitoring their progress and that they will come over and take them out if they do excel to a point where they know that there's other intelligent life out there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you also gathered from it?
I'm in line with that. I didn't draw the conclusion that the enemy knew that they were there already. Yeah. It just kind of put it in my mind that they were the type of, I don't know, people, creatures, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they are yet, so I'm going to use a lot of random terms there. I just feel like they like to conquer everything that they can, right? They're Vikings. Yeah. They're I don't know what, maybe space Vikings or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know if they specifically are monitoring that world or that reality, right? But I think that they know others exist, and they know that if others reach out, they're gonna just take them out. Mm-hmm. Like, this is just not gonna be a wait and find out approach. This is gonna be just go in there and conquer.
Yeah,
because they can.
Yeah, that's very true.
How does Evans come into play? Because he's an energy tycoon. They want to make him out to be like an evil George Soros type of figure who funds all sorts of movements, and he's anti-science and he's anti this and that. But we get introduced to a guy who's trying to save a kind of rather obscure species of bird from all the deforestation happening in that portion of China, which is kind of peculiar to me that they would just allow him to settle in that region and not like immediately arrest him
or assassinate him or just kick him out of the country or something.
Yeah, kick him out. Yeah.
I was surprised how lenient they were about his presence there, and just, I mean, I was just expecting them to basically like, steamroll this guy over and
so he's not the professor that she was trying to get a hold of in California. That is not him.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So I wonder who that is. I wonder if they'll bring that person into the show at some point.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that was just used so that we weren't thinking like maybe they're just talking to the United States or something. Like, I don't know. Like it's everybody in the world is trying to figure this thing out. But I don't know. Evans, I mean, maybe he's the guy like behind this game or something like that. I haven't seen enough of him, other than him showing up to a funeral for a half second, hopping in a helicopter and dipping.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I will say I hope we do kind of eventually end the flashbacks to Ye Wenji's life and keep the story all present day, because the present day is fascinating, and I want to see the relationship of the friends develop more and get really like all the great shows that we love. You get attached to all the central figures and their relationships to each other. I want to see more of that within the show. But yeah, any final closing thoughts? Because we end the episode with her choosing to respond to this message that so clearly told her not to, and giving a response that I was not expecting. At first I was cheering her on, but then I was like, traitor, like you've turned on the earth, like it turned on her kind of at the end when she sent that message.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like Ye's I feel like she knows a lot more than she's letting on to right now. I feel like she's just kind of playing dumb. I don't know. Maybe she.
Oh, in present day.
In present day. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, I think she knows a hell of a lot more than we think she knows right now. Just even the way that she was kind of like talking to Saul and like asking some questions. Oh, what do you think? And blah blah. Like, I don't know. She knows something. I don't I don't know that she's the bad guy or not, but I'm not going to rule it out just yet.
Yeah. I mean, don't judge a book by its cover. She could be the baddie all along. That would be kind of crazy.
It would
set a precedent too, right? Like, hey, the showrunners of the show, they're not unfamiliar with, a female, actor being like a key antagonist. I mean, they were the ones who pretty much made Cersei into as powerful of a cinematic figure as she became, right? So maybe this little innocent looking Asian woman turns out to be the one behind all of this. That would be crazy.
I don't know that she's behind all of it. I just think that she probably has some level of involvement or at least knowledge on what's going on. But yeah, we'll find out shortly, I hope.
I think so. All right. Any closing thoughts before we get into some categories here?
No, man. Like this is exciting. Like I said at the start of this, feels like a whole different like tier of show. I feel like it's been a while since I've watched something that feels this polished. I love the shooting of it. I love all of the like the cool tech and things like that we're seeing in here. It's not too crazy on the time jumping back and forth. Look, the only thing that I didn't like love about the show so far is me just kind of being nitpicky. And it's we've commented about the same thing from many different shows, but you have something on screen and you just show somebody this really abstract thing and they just get it. Like, here's some motion graphics of just some lines dancing around on a screen. You're like, oh my God. I'm like, what's the significance of this? I don't know.
And they just immediately get it.
Yeah. Like that. Like, but honestly, like so far, I feel like that's the only thing I really have to gripe about. Outside of that, I really like all of this.
I can pretty easily say this is the best show we've covered since Silo. As far as enticing, as far as lending itself to conversation on a podcast, this is the best show. It's probably Silo. It's probably this Silo, and the latest season of For All Mankind was terrific. So yeah, at least personal rankings, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put this, top show after Silo.
For sure.
I've enjoyed some of the other ones, but I haven't gotten sucked into them as quickly as this one. I feel like a lot of the other shows, I'm like, I'm on episode 2. I need to watch episode 3 before I really know. But I was hooked at the end of episode 1. And man, these episodes are long.
They're long.
They it's like a solid hour.
Mm-hmm.
So
this one was. The first one was not. But yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Close though. It was 50-50 something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into some categories here.
Yeah, let's start with favorite character.
This episode was probably Jack Rooney. It's probably my favorite character. But overall in the series so far, I really do love Detective Clarence. I really like his character. I like that actor a lot. He has a lot of gravitas. Like, I love his voice. It's like this. It's just a leading man's voice. That guy has the type of like acting style that wins an Oscar eventually. I don't know when, but it's like that to me is the kind of level of actor.
Yeah,
that guy is. But and it's a shame because I have to pull up his name here because I don't know his name by heart yet. But
Benedict
I will
Wong,
by the end of the season. Yeah, Benedict Wong. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with you on this one as well. Jack Rooney's definitely the one for this episode. From episode 1, I would say it's probably Ye. I think she was interesting.
She's also in the running for this episode as well.
Yeah. All right. How about favorite line from the episode?
I actually liked what Auggie said. Well, I liked a few lines in this episode. There's just a lot of like a typical of a David Benioff and DB Weiss show. It's very quotable. There's a lot of quotable moments. You have what Wade says to Clarence, where he says, "There's always something more. You just got to dig deeper to find it." Blah blah blah. That's a good one. I think you have that great line from Ye Wenji at the end where she says, "We can't save ourselves," or something like that. She says something to that extent that I thought was a terrific line. I like what Auggie says to Saul, where she says, "You're a child, Saul, and it's not cute anymore." And she walks away. I thought that was a pretty good line because she found like the marsh stuff in his head. Right, that was some pretty good subtext. Like they didn't have to communicate that. She didn't say, "Oh, you went to drop acid in the marshes." They didn't do that.
Thank God.
Bit. She's like, "No, there's just a bit of some marsh in his hair." And then the line that Jack delivers to Will, which is like, it's more of a monologue, right? It's more of like no, F that. You gave up on Jin. You gave up on blah. That's. I thought that was a great line, and it shows the character, his true character, right? You leave episode 1 and you think maybe this guy might be a doucher, like he's kind of shallow, and you leave episode 2 seeing somebody who loves his friend. He's not selfish with his money. Seems to have some business success. His house is pretty sweet. So those Jack snacks probably
did all right. He's worth like $74 million, I think, if I remember correctly. Like
I missed that detail.
So in episode 1, you saw the detective, like he had like photos of everybody on the board, and we came across Jack Rooney's face with a lovely like post-it note of, I want to say it was like $70-80 million.
So he's worth a lot.
He's got a lot of money.
But he's not like selfish with his money. He wants to help his friend.
About his friends.
Yeah, exactly. He cares about his friends is the bottom line. And he's jumping straight into a reality, putting this helmet on, so he's brave, right? And if somebody told you this chick killed herself, this was the last thing she was doing heavily with her time before she killed herself, would you put the thing on?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm morbid.
Crap. You're so full of crap.
I'm like, it's a fucking game. Like, I mean, dude, the last thing somebody was doing before they killed themselves may have been eating food. Are you gonna not eat food or eat the same meal?
No, that is not the same thing, dude. If I gave you a mysterious helmet, okay, and said, "Hey, the doctor who was our leader for years was playing games with this helmet on. This was the last thing her mother can remember her doing for days, for hours at a time. And she never had any signs before this. You're going to put that helmet on?"
I'm like trying to compare that. Like the thing that would make me not put the helmet on was like if her head exploded or something. Like if she didn't just like walk off and like jump into a pool. I don't know. Like I don't know that I would not put it on. Like I feel like I'd be too curious. Like it's sitting there staring me at the face. Plus, it looks pretty damn cool. It's they got some like Apple Vision Pros on steroids up in here.
That's why. It's because you're an Apple shill. That's the reason you want to put the helmet on.
I mean, it seems interesting. Like I think a lot. I don't think people. I'm probably gonna get into hot water for saying something like this, but I don't think
get
people.
Into hot water.
I don't think people
first.
can get brainwashed that easily. Like if this thing caused her.
That.
I told you.
Tell that to the comrade in China who said you were spared with your.
For this.
No, I'm saying she literally has a line about this.
Yeah.
She literally has a line. Go, you continue.
No. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of the decisions people make are their own decisions. I don't think that you would put something on your head that just like then controls your brain afterwards and you go jump into a pool. I don't think that's the case. But I mean, look, it is a different world. I don't know. I just don't think it would bother me that much to put it on and see what's up.
If you got a mysterious package outside your door right now and it says Zachary on it and you opened it and it had that helmet inside, would you put it on?
Fuck yeah, I'd do that right now. Would you? Would you not?
No,
you'd
man.
be like, yo, come on.
No,
like, that'd be awesome. Dude, that would be so crazy to have something like that pop up at your door. Imagine having like a show that does that and they like suck in their viewers by just randomly setting them this shit and they're like they're posting about it like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're full of it. But a game like that would be cool. I will say that.
Yeah, so you'd put the helmet on and play the game. Yeah, there you go.
Like if I could put the helmet on and play Red Dead Redemption 2 with the helmet,
running around, you get shot. Oh yeah, you just get back up.
Yeah, man, but you're wrong about the whole. I don't think people can be brainwashed that easily. Think about what she says to Ye Wenji. She says you're the daughter of an academic. Pretty much that you're smart enough that you weren't able to be fooled. I was not. I was dumb and I got fooled. That was pretty much what she was saying. And yeah, man, I think if you're not educated, you can absolutely be led astray pretty easily, and you won't know.
No, absolutely. But like you're growing up in a culture where like that is everything that you know, versus growing up in like the US or something where that's not what you know, and then you're just throwing on a headset to play a game. I mean, I go and I play Grand Theft Auto, but I'm not going to go steal a car. I go and I play Red Dead Redemption and Call of Duty. I'm not going to go shoot somebody, unless they're attacking me. I don't know. But that was kind of the point that I was making.
Okay. See, I was making the point of mysterious helmet that we've never seen before is borderline alien technology.
Oh, I'd put it on in a heartbeat.
And our professor that we've known for years, who's never shown any sign of mental illness or suicidal, tendencies, puts it on, and Zach, you got a family to think about, dude. You got a family to think about.
Bring them with me. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Shit. My favorite line was, "You need to choose a better name." I thought it was funny. I liked it.
Okay.
You had some good ones. Favorite scene of the episode.
My favorite was the Jack and Will talking on the bench. I think that was my favorite scene.
That was good. I liked a lot of the communication between Ye and the enemy thing.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's the thing. That is definitely the scene for sure. The last scene of the episode.
Oh yeah,
hands down.
Yeah, that took it for me. That's all I got. Unless you got a surprise category for me.
No, because we said like favorite character. Did we say favorite character?
We did. Or we kind of just discussed it was Jack.
Yeah.
He takes it.
All right, I think that's about it. I'm gonna do a little mini closeout. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you are enjoying, that you enjoyed the 3-Body Problem. Maybe you're rewatching it with us as you do so, and enjoying our coverage as we go along here. Appreciate it. We have covered a few other shows on the channel this year so far. We got Masters of the Air and Constellation on Apple TV. I also just did a Tokyo Vice season 1 review. If you want to check that out, great show on HBO. Highly recommend it. And there's just so much good programming coming out that it's borderline impossible to keep up with. But 3-Body Problem is so good that the podcast is holding me back from binge watching this at an unhealthy speed.
Yeah.
So I think that's about the only endorsement you need from us to tell you that it's a good show. So
yeah, absolutely. You watch any other good shows while we're here? It's been a minute since I've seen you, like actually like week to week.
Yeah, thanks for joining the pod finally, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I've been a little busy. Just look behind me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've been watching One Piece, but there's so many episodes of that, and every once in a while I just get in an anime mood, and that is like the all-time greatest anime in terms of longest running and all that. Tokyo Vice, I've been moving at a snail's pace, but moving along nonetheless. For All Mankind, it got renewed for season 5, and now they're going to do a spin-off series. I have not watched that, but that's coming out. And then I've yet to go watch Dune 2, and I did read the book for that, so I should go watch Dune.
I'm going to wait till I can buy Dune. I tried to start Shogun. I was like going to watch it in the background when I was unpacking, and then I realized it's in a different language, and I was like, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I ended up watching The Bear.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You move away and you listen to all my TV recommendations now. This is pretty much...
I put it on... I mean, you might not like my take on The Bear, but I put it on in the background. I will say at the very least, though, I did really get sucked into the show. Like, I was like, all right, what's going on?
All I'm getting from this is absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So all my recommendations now are amplified times 10. I would save Shogun, by the way. I have a feeling that's a show me and you will eventually cover. I've heard the amount of positive stuff I've heard about Shogun is the amount I've heard about Three Body Problem.
I will say I've only seen like the first 2 minutes of it, and I say seen because I did not hear. Yeah. I don't know what the dialogue was, but it looks like it's shot really well. Like the cinematography looks pretty cool. So is Bear. Bear's edited magnifically. It's not a show to watch in the background though. No, it's not. It sucks you in.
It's chaotic.
It is like my all right. I'll give you part of my take on it. My take on the Bear is that it's just a shit show that you can't look away from.
Yeah,
like that's what a lot of it feels like. It's crazy. Like you can't look away. Like my eyes are glued the whole time. Like
it's purposeful. It's a purposeful car crash that you just can't stop looking at, and it's supposed to make you feel that way. There's episodes that will give you like legit anxiety when you watch them of the Bear.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll get to an episode of a certain Christmas dinner party that will have you at literally on pins and needles the entire time, and it's designed from sound design to editing to everything to make you feel everything you're feeling when you watch. That show is fantastic. Season 3 is around the corner, and I think they're filming season 3 and 4 back to back.
Oh, that's
also I think they're filming Silo season 2 and 3 back to back.
What?
So that's a rumor that I heard. I heard that they're filming that back to back. So
we're still gonna have to wait a year in between them though. So whatever.
Yeah, probably. Okay. I have to guess.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Three Body Problem by Story Archives. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify podcasts. You can visit us on YouTube at Soapbox Podcast Network. Email us at contact@soapbox.house. It's been a minute since I've done that one. Visit our website at soapbox.house. And we do have a link in the description below for a newsletter that sometime soon, we will probably send another email to.
Yeah, maybe. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, don't respond.
Ooh, I like that quip. That's a
like
good.
That might be a good sign off.
That's a good one. Don't respond. Yeah. All right. Peace.